Opening, decoding female attraction. Why subtle signs matter. Have you ever walked away from a conversation with a woman thinking, wait, was she into me? Or was she just being polite? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many men miss subtle signals of attraction, not because they're not paying attention, but because they don't know what to look for. In fact, the most powerful indicators of a woman's interest often aren't expressed in words at all. They're nonverbal, subconscious, and deeply rooted in psychology. And that's exactly what today's video is about. We're going to explore 5 secret psychological signs that reveal when a woman is genuinely attracted to you. These aren't just random behaviors. They're backed by evolutionary psychology and emotional science. More importantly, they represent moments of connection that can shape how a relationship begins, or never even gets started. Why this matters? Let's establish a clear foundation. Most attraction signals are nonverbal. A glance, a gesture, or a shift in body language can say more than a dozen compliments. Men often misread or overlook these cues. That leads to missed opportunities, or worse, missteps that damage trust. Understanding these signs improves communication. When you know what she's expressing beneath the surface, you can respond with clarity, confidence, and respect. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about mutual understanding. When both people feel seen and heard, relationships grow on solid ground. The psychological context. Psychologists have found that women tend to signal attraction in more emotionally nuanced and socially calibrated ways. Unlike men, who often express interest directly, women's cues are subtle and layered, reflecting both cultural conditioning and evolutionary wiring. By learning to interpret these signals accurately, you're not just improving your dating life, you're developing emotional intelligence. That translates into better conversations, stronger relationships, and a deeper connection with the people around you. So let's begin with the first of the 5 signs, but before we do, ask yourself this: how many meaningful interactions have I misread, simply because I didn't know the language of attraction? Secret sign 1: genuine eye contact. Let's start with the first, and arguably most overlooked, signal of female attraction: genuine eye contact. You've likely experienced this without even realizing it. Maybe during a conversation, you felt her gaze linger just a bit longer. Not in a confrontational way, but in a quiet, focused, almost magnetic moment. If you've ever caught that extended look, especially if it's paired with dilated pupils or a warm, open facial expression, it may have been more than politeness. It could be a nonverbal signal of attraction. Why eye contact matters. Psychological foundation. Eye contact is one of the oldest and most powerful forms of nonverbal communication. In psychology, it's closely tied to trust building, emotional safety, and intimate connection. Neurological response. When someone holds your gaze, the brain often releases oxytocin, a hormone associated with bonding and emotional warmth. That's why prolonged eye contact can make you feel seen, even without a single word exchange. Female behavior patterns. Research in social and evolutionary psychology suggests women often use eye contact to test emotional availability and confidence. It's a low-risk, high-impact signal, quiet, but incredibly revealing. How to respond. Mirror the moment. When you notice her holding your gaze, don't look away in discomfort. Hold it confidently, with a soft, self-assured expression, not a hard stare. Smile genuinely, a small, sincere smile, without trying too hard, can transform a moment of eye contact into a shared emotional cue. Avoid overanalyzing. The key is to be present, not performative. Don't treat it like a sign to act immediately, but rather as part of a pattern of connection that may be unfolding. Conclusion: bigger implications. Genuine eye contact is subtle, but significant. It's not about reading a single glance in isolation. It's about recognizing emotional presence. When a woman locks eyes with you longer than usual, she may be signaling not just attention, but trust. In relationships and attraction, trust is the foundation, and eye contact might be where that foundation silently begins. Secret sign 2. Subtle touches, the hidden language of physical connection. Opening, the power of a light touch. Have you ever noticed a woman lightly brushing your arm during a conversation? Or placing her hand on your shoulder when she laughs at your joke? These gestures might seem casual, even accidental, but in the world of nonverbal communication, they can speak volumes. When it comes to human attraction, touch is one of the most primal and powerful tools of expression. And when used subtly, it often signals comfort, curiosity, and a desire to build closeness, long before anything is verbally acknowledged. Body, understanding the psychology behind subtle touches. Let's break down what's happening on a deeper level. Nonverbal cue of comfort. When a woman initiates light physical contact, it's often a reflection of her comfort level around you. She's showing that she feels emotionally safe and open to interaction. These gestures aren't random. They're often unconscious expressions of trust and emotional proximity. Invitation to emotional closeness. A light touch on the forearm or shoulder may seem small, but psychologically, it's a way of testing boundaries while simultaneously inviting deeper connection. It's an evolutionary behavior rooted in bond-forming mechanisms, similar to how touch is used to establish connection in early human development. Important distinction: intentional versus accidental. It's crucial to recognize patterns rather than isolated incidents. One accidental brush doesn't mean attraction, but repeated, intentional touches during a conversation suggest an active desire for closeness. Response: how to react appropriately. How should you respond if you notice these subtle touches? Mirror the energy. Reflect her comfort level by reciprocating with similar, light gestures, nothing exaggerated. If she touches your arm when making a point, a gentle touch on her hand or shoulder at the right moment can reinforce mutual interest. Respect boundaries. Always stay within her comfort zone. The goal is connection, not escalation. Misreading a signal or overreacting can quickly make things uncomfortable and damage trust. Stay natural and present. Don't let the moment feel transactional or calculated. Respond with awareness, not urgency. This is about showing that you're tuned in, not just physically, but emotionally. Conclusion: reading beyond the surface. Subtle touches are part of a broader emotional language, one that, when read correctly, can deepen trust and connection without a single word. In the psychology of attraction, physical contact is often the bridge between casual interest and genuine closeness. But always remember, context and respect are key. A thoughtful, present response to these cues shows that you're not just observant, you're emotionally intelligent. And that's what turns a spark into something meaningful. Secret sign 3. Active listening and engaged responses. How attention signals emotional and intellectual attraction. Introduction. The overlooked power of how she listens. Attraction isn't always loud. Sometimes, the clearest signal someone is drawn to you is how they listen. Not just hearing your words, but truly engaging with them. When a woman actively listens, leaning in slightly, nodding with intention, subtly mirroring your gestures, or asking thoughtful follow-up questions, it's often a powerful indicator of deeper interest. Unlike more obvious physical signs, this form of communication reveals a subtler layer. She's not only interested in how you look, but in how you think and feel. Main body, signs of active listening and what they mean. Let's break this down into specific behavioral cues. Leaning forward or tilting head. This shows genuine attention. Physical orientation often mirrors emotional orientation. Leaning in reflects openness and interest in the conversation. Nodding and mimicking your gestures. These are subtle signs of rapport building. Social psychology calls this the chameleon effect, an unconscious behavior that signals alignment and emotional connection. Asking relevant, thoughtful questions. When a woman picks up on something you said and digs deeper, whether it's about your ideas, opinions, or experiences, it reflects intellectual curiosity and emotional investment. She's not just being polite, she's trying to understand you. These behaviors aren't random, they're grounded in relational psychology. People rarely invest this level of attention in conversations that don't matter to them. Response. How to engage back meaningfully. If you notice these signs, here's how to respond. Offer sincere, nuanced answers. Avoid surface-level replies. Show her that you're equally present by sharing thoughts with clarity and honesty. Use open-ended questions. Questions that start with how, why, or what invite deeper dialogue. This signals respect for her mind, not just her attention. Maintain eye contact without overpowering. Good eye contact reinforces emotional safety, helping the conversation flow naturally without pressure. Conclusion. Listening as emotional currency. Active listening is more than a social skill, it's a form of emotional currency. When a woman invests her attention, asks thoughtful questions, and mirrors your emotional tone, it often signals that she values not just the conversation, but the connection behind it. In a world of distractions and shallow talk, her engaged responses are not just a courtesy, they may be a quiet confession of attraction. Secret sign 4. Playful teasing, the hidden psychology behind light-hearted banter. Introduction. When laughter hides interest. Have you ever been in a conversation with a woman and she jokingly challenges something you said? Maybe she teases your music taste, questions your coffee order, or playfully argues just for fun? While this might seem casual or even random, in many cases, it's a subtle but powerful sign of attraction. In this segment, we'll explore how playful teasing functions not just as humor, but as a sophisticated emotional signal used to build rapport, test compatibility, and spark chemistry without the pressure of direct confrontation. Body. Understanding the psychology of teasing. Playful teasing is often misunderstood. Let's break down its function into 3 key psychological mechanisms. 1. Reducing tension and creating comfort. Teasing lowers emotional defenses. By introducing humor, it creates a shared sense of ease and comfort, especially useful in early stages of interaction. It signals, we don't need to be overly formal, we can just enjoy the moment. 2. Testing emotional intelligence and compatibility. Light teasing can be a way to gauge how you respond under low-stakes emotional pressure. Are you defensive or easygoing? Humor becomes a tool for emotional screening, offering insights into your personality and communication style. 3. Creating a unique bond. When playful teasing is mutual, it generates a personalized dynamic, a kind of inside joke environment. This fosters a sense of exclusivity, as if you've both created a conversational world that no one else is part of. Behavioral clues to watch for. Frequent light jabs that don't carry real criticism. Mock arguments delivered with a smile or laughter. Sarcastic exaggeration meant to provoke a playful response. Reversal of roles in discussion, e.g., "Oh really? You think you're the expert?" How to respond effectively. Stay lighthearted. Don't take the teasing personally. Respond with humor, not defensiveness. Engage in the banter. A clever comeback or playful reversal shows you're socially aware and emotionally agile. Avoid escalation. Keep it respectful. Teasing should never cross into mockery or discomfort. Conclusion. Beneath the joke lies interest. Playful teasing is more than just flirtation, it's a strategic form of communication. It creates a low-pressure space for emotional exploration and rapport building. When a woman teases you gently and often, it's worth paying attention. It might be her way of saying she's interested, without needing to say it outright. Secret sign 5. She prioritizes time with you. Introduction. The most valuable resource, her time. In the world of modern relationships, there's one signal of attraction that often gets overlooked, not because it's hard to see, but because it's so subtle and so simple. It's this: she consistently makes time for you. No dramatic gestures, no over-the-top confessions. Just a pattern of choices, often small but meaningful, where she rearranges her schedule, finds windows in a packed calendar, or follows up to lock in time with you. Why does this matter? Because time is the most limited currency we all share. And when someone chooses to spend it with you, despite competing demands from work, family, or personal obligations, it often signals serious emotional investment. Main body, understanding the sign, prioritizing time. Let's break down what this behavior really tells us through a structured lens. Behavioral indicator. You'll notice she does one or more of the following. Initiates plans, rather than waiting for you to reach out. Reschedules rather than cancels if conflicts arise. Offers alternate times when she's busy. Shown effort to stay connected. Shows up consistently, even during high stress or low energy periods. Psychological meaning. Time is not just about logistics, it's about values. According to social psychology, we tend to allocate time based on priority hierarchies. If someone consistently makes space for you, it likely means you're climbing that hierarchy, not just casually, but meaningfully. This isn't about convenience, it's a reflection of relational commitment, even in its early stages. Appropriate response. If you recognize this sign, it's crucial to respond in a way that reinforces trust and respect. Acknowledge her effort. A simple, "I know you're busy, and I appreciate you making time," can be deeply affirming. Be present. Put away distractions. Make those moments count. Reciprocate. Show that her presence matters to you as well, through actions, not just words. Conclusion. Time as a mirror of intent. In a fast-paced world where everyone is overwhelmed by to-do lists and digital distractions, time is not given freely, it's earned. When a woman makes the intentional choice to invest time in being with you, it's often one of the clearest, most honest signals of her attraction and interest. It's not about grand romantic gestures, it's about the small, repeated decisions that say, "You matter to me." Want to review all 5 signs in one quick summary? Let's go to the full recap and practical takeaways. Segment: Understanding signals versus misreading politeness. Introduction: When a smile isn't what you think it is. In conversations around attraction, one common pitfall is confusing basic politeness with genuine romantic interest. A smile, a compliment, a friendly tone. They might feel like green lights, but are they really? Or are they just part of normal social courtesy? In this segment, we'll explore how to differentiate social politeness from actual attraction, and why reading too much into isolated behaviors can lead to confusion, frustration, or even awkward misunderstandings. Main body: politeness versus attraction. How to tell the difference. Let's break this down into a few clear categories. 1. Polite behavior does not equal romantic signal. Many behaviors we often interpret as signs of interest are, in fact, common social norms. For example, polite smiles, used to maintain friendliness or diffuse tension, especially in public settings or service interactions. Brief compliments, such as "nice shirt" or "you're funny," often delivered casually, without deeper intent. Engaged listening. Being attentive in a conversation doesn't always mean there's romantic curiosity. It could simply reflect good manners or professionalism. These gestures are important, but they are not, on their own, indicators of romantic attraction. 2. The importance of context and patterns. Rather than focusing on a single action, it's more accurate to look at behavioral patterns over time. Is the person seeking time with you consistently? Do they engage in deeper, more personal conversations? Do they initiate interaction even when there's no practical reason? Isolated moments can mislead, but consistent effort often reveals true intention. 3. Avoid overanalyzing, stay present and confident. One of the biggest mistakes is trying to decode every word, gesture, or glance. This mindset often leads to overthinking and unnatural interactions. Instead, aim to stay grounded in the present moment. Respond naturally and respectfully. Allow room for the interaction to unfold without pressure. 4. When in doubt, clarify gently. If you're uncertain whether someone is being polite or actually interested, it's perfectly okay to seek clarity, as long as it's done respectfully. For example, you might say, "Hey, I've enjoyed talking with you. Are you open to getting coffee sometime?" A question like this removes ambiguity without being confrontational. Conclusion: read the full picture, not just the gesture. Understanding attraction is not about reading minds, it's about recognizing patterns, staying emotionally intelligent, and engaging with honesty. By learning to distinguish politeness from genuine interest, you not only avoid misunderstanding, you also create space for more authentic, confident, and respectful communication. Want to learn how these insights connect with the 5 attraction signs we discussed earlier? Let's review them quickly in the final summary segment. Conclusion. Recognize the signals. Build real connection. Let's take a moment to review what we've uncovered in this video, because sometimes the most important part of understanding attraction isn't just spotting the signs, but knowing what to do with them. There are 5 key behaviors that often indicate genuine interest. Sustained eye contact. When someone holds your gaze longer than necessary. It's not just habit. It may reflect attention, comfort, and curiosity. Subtle physical touch. A gentle touch on the arm or a casual tap during conversation can be a powerful nonverbal cue of emotional openness. Active listening. If someone remembers small details, asks thoughtful follow-up questions, and shows engagement, it often signals personal investment. Playful teasing. A light sense of humor and gentle teasing, when mutual and respectful, often indicate comfort and affection. Making time for you. When a person consistently prioritizes being around you, even in small ways, it's often the clearest sign of intentional interest. Why recognizing these signs matters. Understanding these signals helps us move beyond assumptions or wishful thinking. It shifts attraction from a guessing game into a more grounded, respectful process, one based on mutual awareness and emotional intelligence. When both people recognize and respond to these signs consciously, it creates the foundation for healthier connections, ones built not on projection or one-sided hope, but on reciprocal effort and clarity. From awareness to action. So here's your next step. Pay close attention to these 5 signs in your daily interactions, not to overanalyze, but to stay aware of genuine opportunities for connection. Use them as a lens for better communication, deeper conversations, and more meaningful relationships. Because real connection doesn't happen by accident, it happens when we're present, intentional, and tuned in to the subtle signals that others are sending all the time. Don't just watch, take action. Hit like, subscribe, and start noticing the signs around you.